Every time you stop at a red light on a deserted road at 3 in the morning, you are participating in a ghost story. There is no one there to catch you, no one to judge you, yet you stop. The question we are exploring today is not about traffic laws. It is about the invisible architecture of your entire life. How did we, as a species of fiercely independent individuals, come to agree that someone else has the right to tell us how to live? This is the problem of the social contract. It is the attempt to solve the ultimate human paradox: how to be free while being subject to power.
Before we can see the vantage point, we must sharpen our lens. When we speak of the state of nature, we are not talking about a forest. We are describing a thought experiment, a world without a referee. By walking on the sidewalk, by using the currency, you have already signed the contract. You are already in.
To understand why we signed, we have to understand what we were running from. Thomas Hobbes lived through the chaos of the English Civil War. He saw what happens when the contract breaks. He argued that without a strong central Leviathan, life is solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. For me, the contract isn't about being fair. It's about being safe. We surrendered our right to use violence so that we wouldn't have to live in a perpetual state of fear. Order is not a luxury. It is the prerequisite for civilization itself.
I appreciate the general's focus on stability, but a cage is also stable. John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau realized that a contract is only legitimate if it serves the people. For Locke, we have natural rights, life, liberty, and property, that no king can touch. For Rousseau, we don't obey a person, we obey the law that we ourselves helped create. In my view, the state isn't a master, it is a servant. And if it stops serving the cause of justice, the contract is null and void.
Jane, the problem with that conditional contract is that it's impossible to manage. If every individual gets to decide when the contract is unjust, then we are right back in the state of nature. We are back to the war of all against all. Stability requires that the contract be durable, even when it's uncomfortable.
But John, if the contract is unbreakable regardless of its cruelty, then it isn't a contract at all. It is a surrender document. Rousseau's general will requires us to be active participants. If the system is rigged to protect the few at the expense of the many, then the order you value is just a refined form of violence.
Observe the collision. John is speaking about negative liberty, the freedom to be safe from harm. Jane is speaking about positive liberty, the freedom to achieve our potential through collective action. The friction point here is the definition of legitimacy. Does the state's power come from its strength to keep the peace, or does it come from its fairness in how that peace is distributed?
We saw this play out in the 18th century. The American founders, influenced by Locke, built a system of checks and balances. But the French revolutionaries, they leaned toward Rousseau. They wanted to manifest the general will and transform society overnight.
And we saw the cost. When you try to force an entire population into an abstract, perfect contract, you end up with the guillotine. Totalitarianism often begins with the promise, the seduction of a fairer contract.
And yet, John, look at the American experiment. It was a contract that originally excluded almost everyone. Slaves, women, the landless. Without that transformative push, that contract would have remained a pact between the few. Sometimes the order must be shaken for the contract to become truly universal.
Think of the social contract as a high-stakes insurance policy. You pay your premium, which is your absolute freedom to act on impulse. and in return, you receive coverage. John wants a high deductible plan. High safety, but high cost to your autonomy. Jane wants a comprehensive plan, one that covers pre-existing conditions of poverty and birth, but it requires a much higher tax on your individuality. There is no free plan. Every gain in security is a loss in autonomy. Beneath the friction, beneath the arguments of the general and the doctor, there is a shared concern. They are both solving for trust. The social contract is not a solution to our nature. It is a management system for our mutual distrust.
It is a living document. We see it today in the debate over data privacy, the digital social contract. We are still standing at that red light at 3 in the morning, deciding whether the promise we made to each other is still worth keeping. The vantage point is not about choosing John's order or Jane's justice. It is about realizing that you are standing on a foundation built of both. Next time you follow a rule you don't particularly like, ask yourself, what am I getting in exchange? And is the person next to me getting the same? From the Vantage Point, I'm Steve Johnson. Thank you for watching. Subscribe.